Hi, everybody. My name is Ruham Manzoor, and welcome to another episode of our talks with our Prime University partners. Today, we have with us from King's University College, Mr. D. Yan Yong, and we go a long way back. Hey, D. Yan, how are you doing?
Hi, Ron. I'm good. I'm good. How's things going?
Good, good. We had a bit of a technical scare initially. Our broadcast, for some reason, got deleted, but I'm glad we
Yeah,
have it back. And no love lost. So,
yeah.
just wanted to go through the program schedule. We will start, of course. We will get to know each other. Who are you, and what do you represent for our students? And then we'll go into a short presentation of the
hmm
university. I'll be playing from my computer here, and you'll be going through it. And then
Yep.
we will have my colleague Maisha Beg. She will be, going through some of the questions that our students have, and they will be asking on the Facebook live. So that's how we will take it forward. So, Dian, how long have you been working with the university?
Right. So in the industry, I've been in the industry for about 5 years, and recently I moved to with the King's University College. So it has been about 6 months since I joined King's. Yeah.
So, it's a little confusing. King's University College, what is it all about? What is it, a college? Is it a university? What is special about it?
Right. So first of all, when I mentioned about King's, people always mistaken as the King's College in the London, UK. Um, well, I need to clarify. So we are based in London, but it's in London, Ontario, instead of the London, UK. Yeah. So the King's University College, yeah, I get a lot of confusion from that as well. So King's University College actually is an affiliated college with Western University. So we are a college that offers programs that is designed by the Western University. So in a way, students graduated from King's, they'll get a certificate from the Western University as well.
So, you mean the University of Western Ontario, where the Ivy Business School is housed?
Correct.
Oh, all right, cool. So, should we start the presentation?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
All right. So well, I can be really, really lengthy on my presentation. As you know, Rohan, we speak to each other a long time ago. But I will keep this very short for this time. So generally, when I present this, I just hope that it will give an idea for the students who are interested to study in Canada, or in particularly to study in Ontario. So I would give some pointers, some points to think about. Why would you want to study abroad? And if your parents who are watching this video, you just take some time to think it yourself. Why would you want to send your kids overseas to study, and why Canada? So, just introduce myself a little bit. My name is Dian. Yong is a surname. I put my surname, just to avoid confusion. But sometimes where the confusion come off, So I'm the global recruiter for the King's University College. So basically, what I do is I talk to students who are interested to study at King's. All right, next. So basically, why Canada? I think Canada has been rising to become one of the most popular destinations in these recent years, for many reasons. But there are a few reasons that I will be highlighting later. Is one is the quality of the education, the opportunities that are presented to the students who are studying in the Canada, and also the whole environment in the Canada as well. So the next slide. Um, this would actually shows you London, Ontario, all right, not the London in the UK. So the London, Ontario is basically one of the, um, I would say, most comfortable city to live in, right? So it was actually voted as the fourth largest city to live in Canada, and also the sixth happiest city in Canada. So the whole environment you would imagine it's a very pleasant place to live. And if you would like to have a place which is not too far from a big city, you still want to get that kind of city life, we are actually not very far from Toronto. All right, it's about 2 hours drive from Toronto, so you can always take a quick drive, not a quick drive, 2 hours drive to go to Toronto for a quick tour or to get the stuff done. And that's actually another name for the London or Ontario as well. It's called the Forest City. So by name, you would know it's actually surrounded by green parks. It's a lot of tree lines, boulevards. So that's also one of the reasons why it's voted as the sixth happiest city to live in. Okay, next. All right, so the first thing I would cover why to study at King's is basically because of the academic excellence. So there's a quote here we call the Western experience is because, as I mentioned earlier, King's University College is actually affiliated with Western. In fact, now we are changing our branding to be King's at Western. So if you see online on the website, you will see King's at Western. It's actually referring to King's University College, the same thing. We're just trying to show that we are closely linked with the Western University. So the next slide, please. So a lot of people would ask, I can go to Western University directly, but why should I choose King's, right? So as we keep on emphasizing, King's is part of Western, and when students graduate, they will get a Western University. We get a Western University degree. So Western is the fourth largest city in Ontario. Sorry, fourth largest university in Ontario, and it is a university that is consistently ranked top 10 in Canada. So award of excellence in teaching for the last sentence show here is basically I would say it's a very special tradition at King's itself. So they will allow students to vote who are their favorite lecturers. So this is one way for them to feel like, oh, I actually have some say to evaluate my lecturer. So that is also one of the reasons why our students are very satisfied with King's and also Western. Next slide, please. So this is a sample of the degree that the student would receive when they graduate. As you can see, very huge at the top of the degree is, you will mention the University of Western Ontario. All right, so this is basically the degree that the students will get when they graduate at King's. Okay, next. All right, so the other point that we always talk about when students want to study abroad is because they want to get that kind of experience that they can't get in their home country, right? For example, I study in Malaysia and I live with my parents. So one thing that I don't get is I don't get to cook myself. I don't get to take care of myself. I basically rely a lot to my parents when I was studying in the university. The key difference between me and my siblings is my siblings, they actually went overseas and study, and I can see a huge difference, especially in my younger brother. He couldn't cook at all before he go out to study. But then he is a very good cook now. I mean, sometimes when he come back to Malaysia, he cook for the whole family, and we love what he prepared for. So that is actually one of the very so actually studying abroad is not just about the degree that you're receiving, but also the kind of experience that you will get. And when you talk about the experience, of course, parents will also think that, oh, I'm sending my babies to study overseas. I can't be with them and stuff like that. So at King's and at Western, there is one thing that is very important, that we are actually consistently ranked #1 in Canada for best student experience. So I believe this will actually make some parents or students feel relief because they're actually in good hands when they're coming to King's, right? So a huge difference between King's and Western is also King's is a smaller setup compared to the Western. So we don't have many students. We only have slightly over 3,000 students, definitely not more than 4,000. So our students basically, when they break up into rooms, they would have a smaller classroom, and also they will actually get more attention from the lecturers, which would help with their studies. So that's actually one thing that is very important at King's. And the last thing which I want to highlight is that at King's, we actually promote and maintain a safe and respectful working and learning environment for our students, including our international students as well. I realize I'm probably speaking a little bit too fast. If there are any questions, just stop me, or you can just let me know. All right, next.
What I'll do is I'm noting down the points and I'll summarize everything, once you're done.
All right. So this is a testimony basically from our students. They are actually just sharing their experience and saying that King's is is I mean the education at King's is pretty much very engaging and the students like it. All right, so the next one. Right, so of course we are actually emphasizing a lot in the international education as well. So we do have approximately 26% of the students are from the international, basically coming from 30 different countries. So each year there will be students going for exchange program as well. But you know, because of the COVID, since last year we have suspended the exchange program.
Right.
But when the situation improves, definitely this will be something that we will be back on as well. All right, next one. So when students they are choosing an institution to study or choosing a university, they definitely are not just looking at the degree itself, but also they will be looking at the services that they will get when they are in the institution. So these are some of the I would say is the on top of those services that we provide to our students, we also provide a lot of the additional service to help our students, especially the international student, to be familiarized with the environment in Canada. All right, next. So these slides, it might trigger a lot of people because I know that in Bangladesh, majority are Muslims. Muslim. But what it's trying to say here is that we are not just emphasizing on Catholic or Christian students, but it actually means that no matter what faith you are believing, you are welcome at King's. Yeah, so this is actually what it means. I mean, we just to be upfront, yep, we're Catholic, but we welcome everyone. Okay, next. So of course, when the parents or the students they're investing that much money and that much of time in their education, they will hope to get a job or the employment in Canada when they finish their study. So we actually launched a very interesting program, and I would say it's very helpful as well, as the King's Promise. So in short, what does it actually, how does it help is actually when the students graduate from King's, and if they couldn't get any employment after 6 months of their graduation, they can be re-enrolled into a training program. And after they completed their training program, they will actually have the employers to choose them and to work for these people. But of course, I mean, this program is available for students who actually graduate with good results, all right? Because we know that these students, they are good students, they will be a good employee, so we will want to have these students. Okay.
Okay.
All right, next one. So this is actually coming from a point of parents. Self-development is that when you send your kids overseas for study, you want them to develop that kind of self-dependency, but not always depending on parents to help them to solve problems and stuff like that. So one of the reasons why Canada has become one of the main study destination is because students are allowed to work while studying, and also the post-study work is also relatively friendly to international students. And at King's itself as well, we do offer this kind of work study program for students to basically gain some experience or actually to get some additional income to supplement their tuition fee or their living costs as well. So at the same time, when they are working on something, it normally helps with their self-development. All right, next one.
Is it like co-op? Is that what you meant? Like, is it something like co-op?
Well, this is different from co-op. So this is actually work while studying. It's a it's a part-time.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So it's common as any university as well. We do provide the residence for our students as well. So normally for the students, for new students, we would have a guaranteed offer that comes along together with their offer letter. So students, they can choose to accept the offer, or if they want to stay off campus, there are various options available for them as well. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So this slide actually just summarize what we have mentioned earlier. So like a lot of people have this kind of question: when I can go directly to Western, why should I go to King's? So again, just to emphasize again, King's actually has a sense of community because it's a much smaller setup compared to the Western, and short walk from the main campus itself. So if the students they want to access to Western, they can do that. So as we mentioned earlier as well, we do have a smaller class size. So students, they will be able to pay, the lecturers will be able to pay more attention to the students. And I remember I saw research earlier saying that an optimal class size in the school is actually about 24 students. So that is pretty much the class that we're looking at King's. But it doesn't, so when they come to King's, it doesn't mean that students can't access to Western. So for our students, they're actually available they are able to access to the Western facilities as well, like the gym, the library. They can access to the facilities at Western. So that's why we always like to use the quote, the best of both worlds. So they can access to Western, at the same time they are enjoying the benefits at King's. All right, next one.
Cool.
So I know this would probably interest a lot of people. We do offer scholarships for international students as well. So we have 4 types of scholarship, and you can actually get all 4. All right, it's not like if you get number 1, you can get number 3, that kind of thing. So you can get all 4 scholarship when you meet the requirement. So we have the entrance scholarship, merit scholarship, and excellence scholarship that are automatically offered to students when they get their offer. Right, so you don't have to apply for that one. Only for number 4, the work experience program is a scholarship that is on application basis. So you will only get it when you get in when you receive the approval to get the scholarship. All right, next slide. So this actually shows you a breakdown of the scholarship. So in order to receive that amount of scholarship, what are the grades that you are required to have? So the range of the scholarship is from 7,500 Canadian dollars to 12,500 Canadian dollars. So it's a range of scholarship. So this, what I show here is actually for the first year. So if the students, they maintain a certain result or certain percentage in their result, they will be able to get their scholarship on a yearly basis as well. So they will be reviewed on a yearly basis, and then they will continue to receive the scholarship if they meet the requirement. So what you see on the right side is the tuition fee for our programs. Right? But this is not for the business program. This is for the other social sciences program. The tuition fee itself is approximately 36,000 Canadian dollar for 1 year. So this is before we deduct the scholarship. So if a student get a maximum scholarship, then the tuition fee will be approximately 24,000 for 1 year. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So the resident. So for the residence and meal plan, this is optional, right? Like I said, when the students receive offer, they will also receive the offer to access to the residence and meal plan. But if they want to get it sorted out themselves, they can definitely do that. All right, so this is optional. But you can, most of the students, they can take this as a reference. So in 1 year, this will probably is the amount that they're going to spend for their living cost. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, next one.
Sure.
All right, so this is some activities that we are operating. So students, they basically be able to take part in this activity, mainly to get themselves familiarized with the students already there, especially to find their friends from the same country or to meet people from different countries. So this is just to help themselves to be immersed in the King's experience. All right, next one. Right, so basically this shows you the programs that we are offering at King's. You probably might have realized that we only offer the social sciences and business program. So for students who are looking for engineering or sciences program, I'm sorry, we don't offer at King's. We only focus in the social sciences and also business studies. All right, next one.
It seems like it's like a liberal arts college version of the big University of Western Ontario.
That's right. That's right. So you're correct on this one.
Oh.
So the reason why I show this one, Rohan, you probably know Mark Cuban since you spent time in Canada. So what I want to share here is that Mark Cuban actually predicted, that was about 4 years back, he predicted that liberal arts is actually the future of jobs. All right. One of the key things he mentioned in his prediction is that you know, a lot of people, they are crazy about computer science. They want to do programming, they want to do cybersecurity and all that, which is fine, all right? Because we know that AI is the current trend, all right? It's probably going to be happening ongoing for the next few years. But what Mark Cuban mentioned here is that in probably in the next 10 years, we don't need programmers to do programming anymore. All right, like AI can probably do programming themselves, which they don't need the human to do the job for them. It's just like previously we never thought that computer could take over many jobs. So so he actually mentioned that in the next 10 years, probably we don't need programmers anymore because the computer can take care of themselves. So this is what he predicted. That's why he said that the future is actually liberal arts, because there are a lot of things that we won't be able to rely on computers, such as the psychology, the human psychology, all right, the soft skills of the human, those kind of things. It can be replaced by the computer. All right, next slide. So this is a slide that did mean if you are available to join Kings. So there are lots of different requirements that we have listed here. I won't go through most of them, but generally I would just share that these are the requirements, or these are the curriculums that we recognize. All right, the A levels, the US high school, IB, Ontario, and also we accept the Bangladesh HSC as well. All right, the higher secondary certificate, we accept that as well. So generally, we would require a GPA 3.0 in order to be enrolled into the program. Yeah. So that's the minimum requirement we require for the HSC. That's right.
So for HSC, it's 3.0 out of 5.
That's right.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So students who meet that requirement, they can enroll into our program, our year 1 program directly. All right. Okay. Next one.
Yep.
So yeah, this is basically what I mentioned. We recognize the HSC and we would require 3.0 to enter to our program. And of course, we would require the English. Sorry, continue to the English. Yeah. So of course, we would require students to take the English requirement the English language proficiency test as well. So generally, we do accept the IELTS and TOEFL, which are the most common among international students. But if students they have taken other like PTE or Duolingo, I mean, we do accept those as well. So what they need to do is just send us their results, then we will be able to tell them if they are eligible to apply for these programs.
Right. So do you, I mean, I guess this question will come anyway. Do you accept for A-level students and IB, do they still need IELTS?
Well, generally, what we would say is that if the students they are not from a country that is speaking English, we would require them to have the IELTS or TOEFL.
Okay.
We are a little bit stricter in this one, but if they have a good results in the A levels in their English as well, I mean, we can always try into to see whether if it can be accepted as a supplement to IELTS or TOEFL.
I guess, I mean, in a way, it's good because when they go for their visa, if you're applying from Bangladesh, then in the visa application checklist, there is a specific section for IELTS. I guess in a way, it's absolutely fine.
That's correct. Yeah. So for application, definitely, if the students they are planning to apply to several university in Ontario, the best way for them to do that is to go through the OUAC, which is Ontario University Application Center. But again, just emphasize that there will be an application fee that the student have to pay. It's to the platform, but not to the university. All right. But if they already have a specific target, for example, if they're only looking at King's itself, I would advise the student to contact you, for example, to apply early, because we don't charge application fee to our partners.
Right, exactly. So if you're applying for the King's University College, then if you come to us, we have our own portal where we make the application, and there is no application fee. So you save money, and at the same time, you get your offer done faster as well, and you are assured that it will be done correctly.
Yeah. So I know I said I want to be short, but again, I also took up about 10 minutes. So it's just to give a summary so that you could actually remember, or at least remember some that I've shared. So the first thing why you should consider King's is because of the academic excellence. All right, we are affiliated with Western, and Western University is the top 10 university in Canada. So in terms of student experience and international exposure, as I mentioned, our students always rank King's and Western as the top one in Canada in terms of student experience. And also we do have international students, and also we have international exchange program, which students can choose to go to different countries to have probably one semester done in those countries. Employability, again, another big thing to emphasize is the program we launched last year, which is the King's Promise. So that is a program that is actually helps students to get guaranteed job in Canada. Again, when it comes to self-development, because students, they are available to work in the Canada, so they will be able to pick up some living skills as well when they're studying. So the last thing is the best of both worlds. So as I mentioned, when students come to King's, they will be able to enjoy the benefits that are offered by King's, like the scholarship that I mentioned, smaller class sizes, the sense of community, while also enjoying the benefits that can be brought to them by Western. All right, so basically that is a quick summary for the presentation.
That is great.
Basically, basically, if you have any questions about the university, don't feel free to send me an email. But I would prefer you to send Rohan, because he actually have more experience when it comes to Canada. He lived there for, I don't know, like a couple of years.
I'm still living there. So,
yeah, correct, exactly.
I guess, this is, of course, that comes, makes it to the end. Now, when students go to universities, of course, they're looking for reputation, student experience. They're looking for, jobs after they graduate. They look for a good environment. And I think this is where the King's University package really can be beneficial to students. Now, obviously, you can apply to the McGill's, the University of Toronto's, the University of Western Ontario directly. And what will happen is you will get into a world-class university and a great experience. But a lot of times, what people don't realize, and I get this a lot, Diane, because I send students, is that students find it extremely overwhelming because, for example, University of Toronto, when you go there in the freshman year, sometimes you're in class sizes that are 500 students big. Now, 500 students in a class where you need a binocular to see your professor. I mean, that interaction is not there, and what happens is students get lost and they feel very alone, and sometimes students get depressed. So, especially the freshman year, and what happens is their grades fall, and it takes 3 years to lift up those grades to acceptable levels. Because remember, once you graduate, you need to get a job. And if you want to get a job, I mean, grades and all those things matter. So the best thing, what I love about, the King's University College is that it offers all of that. It offers a degree from King's, the great university, but it offers it in a packaged way where you are insulated, sort of protected, and you can actually get that degree with a great experience. I mean, 20, 25 students per class, a smaller thing, and you can still use those gyms. You can use the student union. You could be part of the student union and all of that. But you are, you get a much better experience. And with the liberal arts concept, where the teachers know each other, it's more of an experiential learning. I mean, students can learn by asking questions. I mean, when 500 students are there in a class, I can guarantee you nobody's asking questions, because and even if they are, they're not your question. It's like winning the lottery if your question is picked. So those are some of the things, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll get to questions. Yeah, sorry, Diane.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add on to what you have mentioned earlier. As international students, I believe you get that as well. When you are traveling alone to a different country and you got to leave it by yourself, you have a lot of stress that you have never imagined, right? So if you're in a smaller setup, you are closer to your lecturers, you're closer to your friends, you're closer to your classmates. It actually helps with those kind of mentally stress. and that is something that people don't actually normally realize, and they only realize when they are already there, which sometimes it can be too late, right? So I guess this is something that Kings will be able to help, especially when we have a smaller setup, and also we offer different kind of services to our students to help with their mental health, and also I mean not just on their career service or even their education. So we do provide additional service like those services as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we will go into questions. We've got about 30 minutes. So we've got about 10, 15 minutes left. Maisha, you want to take some questions?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for, such a lovely presentation that was quite comprehensive. So let's probably start with something a bit lighter. One of the questions was, what is the student life like in London, Ontario?
Right. Well, when it comes to student life, definitely we do have the society that would basically help with the students to get some of the times burned, and also to get them to kind of like be immersed in that kind of experience over there. So those are the activities that we have. If you are looking for those kind of big city life, we probably won't be able to offer as compared to Toronto. But again, if parents are concerned about their children's safety and everything, I always thought that this London will be a good place for students to basically to study, and also to have a little bit more leisure life, which are not as pressured as those big cities.
And
Okay.
I must add here, because I live in Toronto, I must say this: when you're studying, I was a student once, and I remember I was constantly broke. I mean, consistently, I was broke. Every month, it was like, oh my god, oh my god. Towards the end, I actually used to live on ramen noodles. Now, when you're in Toronto, remember your rent is going to be, I mean, a small one bedroom. Or like if you're sharing a 2-bedroom flat, you're going to spend $1,100-$1,200 on rent, and so in a place like London, it's going to be much cheaper when you live off campus and things like. And I think here, including the meal plans, it's 14,000. So all of that is included in that. So yeah, I mean, there is so much to look forward to. Next question, Maisha.
Thank you for that. Also, the other lighter question was, so campus-wise, is Western University far, or where is it located from the college itself?
That is a good question, actually. We are literally next door of Western. Walking distance.
That's great. Which means that there's
you
just
can,
as much
yeah.
part
So
of the
when you look it up
university.
on Google Map, yeah, when you look on Google Map, they're actually just separated by a road. That's it.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, so we did have a question that you've previously answered to, which was if they do get a waiver, if they do come from an English background. For example, if someone's going to a postgrad degree, and they've already done their bachelor's from UK, for example, would that make any difference, or
Right.
You only
First
do
thing I need to
undergraduate
clarify
courses.
is that, sorry, I didn't
for
mention it
undergrad?
earlier. That's right. We only do undergraduate courses. Yes, we don't do postgraduate. So for students who are looking for postgraduate, my advice is go directly to Western.
Perfect. Thank you. All right.
Or get in touch with us. We will hook you up with some great universities for pursuing your postgraduate degrees.
Nice.
We
Yeah.
absolutely will. All right. So the other question, always a scholarship question, So what are the scholarships ratio over there, and do they have any extra scholarships for extracurricular activities?
So basically, the scholarship that I mentioned earlier is that all the scholarships that we offer.
So basically, up to $12,500 per year. You know, that's the maximum you can get. They can be stacked on top of each other based on the grades. Now, remember, if you have to get $12,500 per year, you're looking at a average percentage mark of 94%. So for, you know, you're talking about the high A stars, basically for that. And you know, if you have a GPA of absolutely 5 out of 5 and really up in there, perhaps you could get some of those scholarships.
Thank you so much for that. All right, so we've got a question from Omar. His question is, if you do have a certain GPA, would he be able to transfer to an Ivy League School of Business, for example?
Ivy School of Business, not Ivy, you know, yeah,
Ivy Business School. Yeah.
Well, first thing, when we talk about transfer, we don't always promise a guarantee. All right. So when it comes to transfer, it's always on a case-by-case basis. It depends on a lot of things. Like first thing is, of course, on your results. The second thing, they would depends on the English requirement, and also the third thing normally would also depends on the finance situation as well.
Yeah, so I want to add to that. You know, like for example, University of Toronto has the University of Toronto Business School, you know, which does the business degrees, and then they have the Rotman School of Business, which is like their separate business school. So when you're studying at King's, you can get a degree from the University of Western Ontario. I mean, basically that's the degree you're going to get. But if you want to get into the Ivy School of Business, even if you were at the University of Western Ontario, in order to move to the Ivy School of Business, you have to go and bounce through some hoops. Now, if you couldn't get in directly, then obviously it's your grades, the number of places available. Remember, they will only take a certain number of people based on how many people dropped out from that school, and then it opens up new areas.
Thank you so much for that. I think we're going to go for the last question. So you talked about the employability program that you do for guaranteed employment. How would that be different from a co-op program, for example?
Right. So this co-op is totally different from the employability program. Is that co-op is part of your study. So when you're studying, you need to complete a certain percentage of work or certain amount of work in order for you to graduate. All right. So employability program is when you graduate, when you're looking for a job in Canada, we help you to do that. So that's the key difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that was the last question from my end here.
Anything but the interesting thing I really found, which is very unique, I don't know of many universities. We work with 200, and I have not heard of this, which is their guarantee. Like if you do not get employed within 6 months of graduation, they will give you a free training and get you employed. I mean, that is something, I mean, talk about guaranteeing your return on investments. I mean, that is something really, really unique. So, you know, students who are listening, please pay attention, because especially in today's day and age, getting a job might be difficult. You're gonna graduate at a post-corona timeline, and there is gonna be challenges. So you want to graduate from a university which gives you that level of, you know, and remember, they're not gonna just offer this to you. Because in order to offer that to you, they have to be confident that their students are going to get employed. So, you know, they will do everything in their power to make sure through your degree, you have that confidence and the training to go out and get jobs. So, I mean, that's only offered in that. So if you want to apply to King's University College, please get in touch with Maces. As you heard from DM, there is no application fee. And, you know, for Maces, we have never charged any fees. So we don't have any fees before, during, or after your application. We don't charge any fees if you go to our partner universities. So, you know, this is something great, but also that means we don't accept every student who walks into our door. We only accept students who we believe are genuine students who are eligible. Please get in touch with us by mail at macesmedia.com, by email, or you can call us at 017-5566-0012, or you can message us on Facebook, and somebody will be there to answer your question. And Deanne, any last words from your side?
Yeah, I just want to add on something that about the visa. So when it comes to visa, it's sorry to say, but Bangladesh is probably in one of the higher category, higher rejection rate in many of in well among many of the countries. So I think what Masons could provide it's also the advisors when they're applying for visa. These are the services that they'll be able to provide. So I think it would actually help a lot when it comes to students, I think for students who have no experience in applying visas to study abroad. So that is something which is very important, which I think not a lot of students they have to think of.
Yeah, I mean, we find this all the time. Sometimes students apply by themselves and they make mistakes which normally you wouldn't make. For example, they'll miss a document which is very essential as part of the application, but they just don't know about it. So if you're applying to Canada, and you're applying to one of our partners, it's completely free. So it's completely win-win. It's in our best interest that you're successful in your application, and it's in your best interest that you are successful in your application. So once again, Deanne, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Hopefully our students who are watching this now or will be watching later on will benefit from the information you have provided. Maisha, thank you so much for asking the questions.
Yeah.
And, hopefully we'll see you guys again. I think our next session is tomorrow at 9 p.m. Who's coming, Maisha?
Tomorrow?
Yes.
That would be at 9 p.m. with CSVPA, which is our arts
Cambridge
and
School of
Design
Visual
College
and Performing
from
Arts.
Cambridge. Correct.
So yes, we'll see you there tomorrow. Thank you again, Deanne. And with that, we say goodbye to our audience.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.